here is your first look at comparison between a retail and fake pair of Nike SB Chunky Dunks. Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we have a pretty exciting comparison, and it's one I've been looking forward to for a long time. So I have a fake pair of Nike SB Chunky Dunks and a retail pair, and I'll just do a comparison and breaking down some of the flaws on what to look for when trying to purchase an authentic pair. So to start it off, I'm going to say this pair on my right side is the fake pair, and this one here is the authentic pair, because it does get quite confusing as these ones are insanely close. The Nike SB text on the box, even though it's shining pretty much, is much larger on the retail pair and is slightly misplaced on the fake box compared to that of the authentic, but in terms of colours they are spot on. Both these shoes are the same size, so there should be no difference there at all. So I'm going to take a look at the labels now, give you a close-up of this. So obviously the fake one, once again, has gone for the American sticker, so they have attached the US dollars price, whereas the retail one obviously has the retail sticker of where it's purchased for and the price. But in terms of the actual label itself, text on the replica label is slightly thicker in terms of where it says white university gold, blank or university is slightly thicker on the fake one compared to that of the retail. But other than that, they're incredibly close and there's literally no difference here. If we spin it around to the bottom of the box, the retail one here has the black Nike sticker on the bottom, whereas the fake one does not have this. This probably won't happen on all boxes, but it's just an interesting comparison to make. So that's pretty much it for the comparison with the boxes, because they've done a really good job of replicating these now. So we'll just open them up and take a look at the shoes themselves. So firstly, the paper. On the replica one here, the lines on the paper are incredibly dark, whereas on the retail one, the lines are incredibly faint. So that is a clear difference right there. So if we open up the paper, here is your first look at comparison between a retail and fake pair of Nike SB Chunky Dunks. So here are the two shoes, and they are incredibly close. They have done an amazing job at replicating these. It is actually quite crazy. I will try and point out some of the very minor flaws, but first I'll give you some B-roll and see if you can point out any flaws in the comments below. So I'll be focusing on the left shoe first. Keep in mind, this is the fake pair and this is the retail one. So the first thing I've noticed is on the heel here. So where it is embroidered saying Nike, I will give you a close-up of this, don't worry. On the replica one, the embroidery is slightly darker than on the retail one, but this is very minor and can only be seen in certain lightings. In terms of the text font, text positioning, it is completely correct. There is no difference here, it's just a slight colour difference. Also on the back here, underneath this Nike text, you can see there are some clouds in the gap here. On the retail pair, these clouds are much larger than on the replica one, but this can vary with size. It's just because these are both a UK 9, so you can compare it there. In terms of the fur material going around this edge, there's pretty much no difference here. I would say the fake maybe is a slightly longer fur, but other than that, there's no difference at all. I think it's because these are dead stock, and I feel like these have just the material's kind of worn away a little bit, but other than that, the appearance is exactly the same. The pattern does change between each shoe, so there is not really much to compare in terms of the fur print. They've got it spot on. If you look at the shape of the shoe, once again, they seem to have almost perfected this. there is little to no difference at all. I would say maybe it's slightly chunkier just around the ankle area here on the fake, but once again this would be impossible to tell on foot, and they have almost got this spot on. Looking at the base of the shoe, I will give you a close-up of this. You can see that where it says Nike SB on the symbol, on the replica pair, the Nike symbol is much thinner on the replica one compared to that of the retail. Also, the pattern underneath is much more visible on the replica pair than on the retail pair itself. And if you come up to the top of the forefoot, and as you can see underneath, the stars are much more visible on the replica pair compared to the retail one. Other than that, they pretty much have got the shoe pattern spot on. They've been doing these for a long time, so it's not hard to imagine. It's just the stars are a little bit more visible on the fake one than the retail one. If you look at the inside swoosh here, and you can see the stitching going along, outlining the swoosh. Underneath the stitching there is a part of the yellow swoosh that kind of gives a dripping effect. If you look consistently all the way along, it stays like a consistent thickness towards the edge underneath the stitching, whereas if you look fake one here, you can see it gets incredibly thin at points, so there are slight differences there. In terms of the actual shape of the swoosh, there is a little bit of a difference on the inside. You can see there the swooshes don't entirely match up in shape. However, if we switch it around to the outside, they've got this outside swoosh spot on. There is no difference once again. If we spin the shoe around and take a look at the inside of the shoe where it says Ben & Jerry's, and it says, if it's not fun, why do it? Then underneath it says made in Vietnam. If you look at this text here and compare it to the authentic pair, you can see that the made in Vietnam text is positioned differently on the fake pair compared to the real one, and in my opinion the fake one is positioned a lot better, but I don't know if this is consistent between pairs. So before I get any further in this video, I'd have to give a big shout out to the person that has sent me this retail pair to do the comparison. They put a lot of trust in me to be able to do this, and a big shout out to Finlay Owen who made this possible. So yeah, big shout outs to them too for making this happen. So if I take out the inner cushioning, there is actually a complete difference here. You can see a color difference and just material difference there as well. The retail one is a lot darker of a grey, and the fake one is more laminated than the real one. But this is just paper, no one's really going to see it. As much as I would like to take out the insole and compare it to you, I don't think it's fair because this isn't my shoe and I want to keep it completely dead stock for them. However, I can tell you that the Ben & Jerry's Nike SB text on the insole is slightly misaligned between the two pairs. On the retail one, it's positioned perfectly where your heel will be placed, whereas on the fake one there is a slight angle to the text. It is not positioned completely horizontal with the entire insole, so that is a difference there. So I'll now switch over to the right shoe and see if we can see any difference there. The right shoe comes with two laces attached like this, a yellow one and a green one. In my opinion, still looks better with the white inside, but here on the fake one you can see it also has these attached too. However, as you can see, I will give you a close-up, they are tied incorrectly. On the fake one they are a lot tighter than that of the retail one, but once you undead stock them, take the laces off, no one's ever going to see this. In terms of colour, they are completely spot on, both of them, they've got these correct. So this was just a short comparison, and as you can tell it was an incredibly short comparison because there's little to no difference between a real and fake pair, and that is quite scary. They're almost identical, so if you're trying to buy an authentic pair, please be careful, and please only buy from a reliable source or an actual retail store. They're going for a lot of money. I think the price is up here, so please be careful when trying to buy an authentic one because you could easily get scammed. And even from, well, I almost dropped that, even from a distance, there's little to no difference here, and because the pattern changes all over the cow print, this would be very hard indeed. But yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed, I hope you have learned something from this video. If you could please subscribe, we're so close to 10,000. Don't know if we'll be on 10,000 by the time I release this video. And if you could follow me on Instagram, it really does help me do comparisons like this. And once again, big shout out to Finlay Owen and the person who owns this shoe. I will tag them if they want to be tagged. But thank you very much for trusting me to do this comparison, and I will get your shoes back to you safely. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.